What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Ham and Spam Retro Review, the show where two lifelong friends replay the games from our childhood, see if they stand the test of time.
Check us out online at hamandspam.com, where you can find links to our social media, including Twitter, where it's at hamandspam1,
Instagram at Ham and Spam Games,
and search us on Facebook, Ham and Spam Retro Review,
and coming soon to YouTube.
eventually. Thanks for listening.
Hope you enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 25, where I'm joined by our special guest, one Hammy.
I'm back.
Hopefully, it's not for just one night only. So,
Depends on if this foot ever gets healed.
let's just cut it all, guys. Y'all don't understand. I'm looking at it right now. It's huge. It's swollen. It's huge. It's very tender. I've already slid the coffee or the table that we have all our stuff. It is a coffee table, but I've already slid it to his foot. And he's about killed me. So there was that as well. So Hammy, how's your week been?
Well, not a whole lot of walking.
Not a whole lot of anything, really.
Apparently, fall weather finally got here, and I didn't get to enjoy it.
Right. You haven't yet, anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's probably going to be gone after this week.
Probably. I think it's actually get a little colder, so it's not too bad. It's like we completely missed out on fall, and now we're kind of in that weird between fall and winter area of the seasons.
I'm just waiting for summer to come back.
Because you know it will. So in review, gout sucks.
Oh, yeah. I don't recommend it.
I've had a tinge or two of it, and thankfully I'm on meds, and it doesn't do that much to me anymore. But
well, it hit me, and it decided to stay.
Yeah, bad too.
So I haven't got a lot of sleep. Today's the first day I could walk. I can't put anything on it. This foot's barefoot. Coming over here.
Yeah. When you came over and to record tonight, we you told me you got out with no shoe on, and then by the time you got out, you stepped in an ant bed. And
well, I made sure to avoid the ant bed, but they found me.
Well, that's what happened.
3 or 4 got me on that foot.
That's the devil's demon spawn there. That and mosquitoes.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, did you get a chance to listen to last week's episode?
I did. It's the first episode I've actually listened to. The one I wasn't in.
Well, there's no sense in re-listening to it if you've already lived it.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was pretty good episode. Caitlin did a good job filling in,
and I think I came up with a good nickname for her.
What's that?
Treat.
Not quite spam.
Exactly. Not quite spam, but it's still potted meat.
But oh gosh,
brought
that's
to you by
funny.
the people who make Vienna sausage.
Well, she didn't like my suggestion of spam light.
Well, she's gonna be Treat. She's Treat from now on.
Well, there you go.
Thank you, Treat.
Well, her thing too was don't give me a meat nickname. Well, by gosh, you got one. So when you hear this, when it drops on Sunday/Monday, you'll know what it is.
Yep.
So yeah, I thought it was a pretty good review. Probably a little lengthy. Do apologize for that, but sometimes you just kind of get in the groove and you start talking about something, and it's rolling and it's flowing off the tongue. And
well, I enjoyed it because you could tell that the two of you had quite an experience playing the game.
I had an experience reliving it through her, especially the HD, the remake, because it was so jump scary.
And I love that remake.
We're going to end up playing through it, and if I ever figure out how exactly to put together a YouTube channel, I'm going to show Caitlin playing it. So it's the only way of doing it. But real quick though, I did want to relive just a couple of moments right quick of Resident Evil. I don't know how we got through that entire game without talking about the terrible, terrible movies that go along with it that have the same name.
But completely abandoned the source material.
Well, and I think that's they have been successful. They've got to be successful to have like 12 or how many ever they've got now.
Well, yes.
No joke. They've got like
Twilight
6.
movies are successful. That tells you what state of our nation, or the state of our nation,
well,
is in.
And then I had also said that Barry turned out to be a bad guy at the end. He was not a bad guy.
You could save him.
Right, and he was blackmailed. And that was another thing that I didn't touch on, that there was actually 4 different endings.
Yeah.
You could, the best ending was Jill and Chris both got out with Rebecca and Barry. So all 4 characters are saved.
Which is the canon ending, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, because that's how they're all in the sequels.
Yeah.
And then you can get the bad ending, which is you and you alone survive, and you can get the next to worst ending where it's just you and your partner, or you can get the next to best ending, which is you, your partner, and
either
Chris.
Barry or
Right.
Rebecca.
Right.
Something else you missed, Jill had the lockpick stuff in the original.
Yeah, and I had to go back and look at that because that's in that terrible voice acting. I guess I just shut it out of my head where it says you, the master of unlocking things. So I guess I just kind of overlooked that. So
It's like, was that a question? Or was that a statement?
Oh, but yeah, I kind of upset that you weren't able to make that one because
I did a lot of research for it.
You did, and we commend you for it. And because of that, I think that made it a good episode. Because as we all know here, we're either going to do a really thorough playthrough or do really thorough research. And that one got a bit of both, even though you weren't here.
Yeah.
The research obviously was you, so thank you.
I printed it, or I typed it out.
Yep.
For
yeah,
once.
we had it up on the screen here as we were going through it, trying to make sure we hit everything. So episode 25, continuing on with our Halloween / horror film or horror theme. Episode 25 is
Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Good deal. Well, now, why did we pick this game? And by we, I mean you.
Well, originally we were going to do Castlevania 4.
Right.
SNES.
Right.
But I've got, Jeff, great friend of the show. We'll reveal his meet and nickname in the bonus episode.
Releasing this week as well.
Right. He's a huge Castlevania game fan.
Okay.
And he, among many others, said that Symphony of the Night is the best Castlevania game.
Full disclosure, never played it, back in the day.
Yeah.
Never was a big Castlevania guy anyway. The games on regular Nintendo, that's what I associate Castlevania with the most. They're hard.
I played several of them for a grand total of about 15 minutes combined. But I did play the Lords of Shadow, the 3D. I played it a lot. I liked it a lot.
And is that the one that was released not too long ago for free on Xbox, or was that like a sequel to it?
Well, there are 2 of them, but
Okay.
I know they did an HD remaster of it, but I enjoyed it. It's like a whole different timeline though. It's like a what if scenario. Kojima had a hand in it.
Right. Okay. Well, that explains a lot with the what ifs and alternate timelines and whatnot. So, I would have to agree in the playthrough of it that it's probably the best Castlevania because it stuck true to the roots. It's 2D. They mess with it a little bit, try to make it a little different, and I think it does help.
Well, they changed it. They turned it on its head because before then Castlevanias were linear.
Right.
I think the second one, Simon's Quest, had some exploration and people liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But it straight up went exploration, non-linear, had added RPG elements.
Mm-hmm.
Just a whole lot of stuff that they were really wanting to get longevity out of the game. They wanted it to be something that you would come back and play over and over.
Which is a lot for 1997 when this was released. Right. It was originally released for the PS1 and then later for the Sega Saturn. But initially, it was supposed to be for the 32X.
Yeah. I think it's called the Bloodletting.
Right.
The working title.
Mm-hmm.
And just like everything else with the 32X.
When it bombed, they took it and said, yeah, we're going to take our ball and go home. We're going somewhere else.
Which that whole story of Sega and the 32X fiasco.
Well, and that monstrosity that, okay, you take this and you add it to this and you stack this on top of it. And then guess what? We got something else you can put with it too.
Oh, it was such a bad idea.
I mean, we watched a YouTube video on the history of that whole timeline, basically from the Mega Drive up through the 32X and how bad it was. Like Oh yeah, that's no big deal. We'll just add something to it. Hey, that's no big deal. We'll just add something else.
Just keep adding. It's like the Game Boy. Remember the Game Boy camera?
Yeah.
You had the printer.
The
you
printer,
had the
you're
big
right.
magnifying glass.
I had that thing with a magnifying glass on it.
Yeah, you do. I forgot about that.
Well, Maze dropped it, and well, the lights had gone out in it on the top, and then Maze dropped it, and it actually had like a joystick kind of thing with it, and it broke the joystick, so it's completely gone. We ended up trashing it. So,
I should have at least kept it.
No.
Even if it doesn't work. Was
Well,
it completely broken?
Yeah, it was like completely broken.
Oh, wow.
So
Grounding for life.
Well, maybe not for life. He's grounded right now because we went to the football game last week, which Maze's team won, by the way.
Yeah, I heard about his interception.
Maze had an interception, yep. And the thing I didn't say about last week was we got all the way there and he forgot his jersey. It was like 30, 40 minutes away over to where we were at, and got there, and it's like, I grilled him before we left. I said, make sure you have everything. I'm not going to sit here with a dang checklist or anything. Make sure you got everything. I got everything. We get all the way there, and he's like, where's my jersey? Like, we've messed with it. And I'm like, this is why I told you to check everything. I just grounded you for a week.
So the jersey would be the last thing I would forget.
We'll see.
I would probably wear it the whole
He
way
played 1 year on the lower level, the B team. They call it the B team. And we had a jamboree, and we got all the way to another town, and he forgot his cleats. Like, we had to run back and go get his cleats because we played in like 30 minutes. So I made awesome time getting there.
Wow.
Surprisingly, I didn't, wreck or get a ticket or anything. But, I was hot that day. I was hot that day. Ooh. I just looked at him with a jersey and said, well, you're grounded. And I just walked away because I knew I was going to get him. But anyway, released in 97, 98 for the Sega Saturn.
Right.
It's been re-released several times.
Oh, yeah.
Full disclosure, that's how I had to play it. I couldn't. I kept looking for a copy of the game. It's hard to find.
The PS1's gonna run you over $100.
Exactly. It's very expensive, and I love the show, but I don't know if I'm ready to drop $100 for a game that's almost 20 years old. 97, 07.
It's old enough to drink.
Well, it's over 20 years old. It's 22 years old.
So you played the Xbox 360 version on Xbox One.
Right. And you played
the PS4 version.
The PS4 version. Okay, so the PS4 version is actually the original. As far as you know, anyway.
Well, one of the remakes they did for, I think, PSP.
Okay.
I think they called it the Dracula X version.
Yeah.
Because it comes with Castlevania Rondo of Blood.
Mm-hmm. Which is the prequel.
Right.
To this series, this game.
It's called Castlevania Requiem, both the games together.
Right.
And they changed a few things here and there. I think they changed some dialogue for this one. I think they changed some music. They also made a couple more playable characters, which I could not figure out how to select those.
So the version you played or the version that I played, which one's more true to the original?
I think yours is more true to the original.
Okay, well, I noticed. So Hammy's come over. We spent a couple of hours together playing, and he said, "Hey, this dialogue's different than what on his playthrough."
Well, I noticed the voice acting was different. There were different actors, but
right?
Yeah, the whole dialogue, it was strange.
Well, see, I thought it was kind of awesome that they actually had, voice actors for this because we played a lot of Sega and Super Nintendo games back in the day where you had to read a lot of it, and even some of the original PlayStation stuff you had to read a lot of it. But they had the voice actors. They produced it very well.
They did,
and did a good job with it. So yeah, we played it two different consoles at two different times. I'm not gonna lie, I played it to a certain extent, got to the first boss and died numerous times. I'm not a Castlevania guy. I don't have the patience for it. And it's very hard sometimes. So, and we'll get into that when we get into the review. But you got here that it was developed as a side story for the series.
Yeah, kind of like almost like a spinoff,
right?
Sort of. Yeah, let me see that paper where I typed everything out. I thought I had it memorized, and I don't. But they wanted to break away from those traditional aspects, like I told you about earlier, the linear stuff.
So this is what number in the series?
I think it's like number 15.
15?
If I'm not mistaken, because they've already had
you had your original,
your 1
then
through
you had
4,
2, right?
Yeah,
3, and then 4.
Then they had a bunch of spin-offs. They had a bunch of stuff like that. But this, they wanted to break away from that traditional linear Castlevania thing. And the main reason is because Castlevania was not selling well.
Right.
It was flopping real hard in Japan. Like
they got stale.
Yeah, the director said he went around, they were in not bargain bins. And he realized a lot of it was due to the fact that there was no replayability. I mean, it was just straight up linear.
Sure.
Go from the start of the game to the end of the game, and there's no reason to do anything else.
Right.
So that's why he made it the way he did. And a large part of that came from or was inspired by The Legend of Zelda. He loved the fact that you had a whole map that you could go, back and forth to wherever you wanted.
I mean, and this isn't necessarily linked to the past Super Nintendo Zelda. This is like original Zelda kind of stuff.
I don't know. It might
well,
be
I mean, you change the screens. It scrolls from scene to scene, and you can go back and forth. So,
well, I mean, as far as having the castle, you can go all over, and there are some parts that you can't get to unless you have a specific item.
Sure.
It's very similar to Super Metroid. It plays a whole lot like Metroid, which this is the game that spawned the term Metroidvania.
Right. Because
most of the 2D Castlevania games after this are going to follow this formula.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very similar to Metroid. The whole big open map, you can go back wherever you want. Just there are certain parts that you can't get to unless you have a certain item.
Right. And the RPG elements made it more rewarding, made it replayable, and also made it less difficult as well.
Right. If you got a boss that you can't beat, just walk around and kill little enemies until you level up over and over and over.
Right.
You'll be stronger.
And trust me, Clint had to do a lot of that. So this is a 2D game in a 3D world. I thought they did very well with the graphics, with the backgrounds, with the shading to make things look more 3D in the backgrounds, even though they were truly 2D.
And as much as we can appreciate it today, that kind of hurt it when it came out.
Right, because it's different.
Yeah, and I mean,
and it's funny because they're like, we got to make this game different because it's so stale, but then they make it different. They're like, well, we don't want to play it because it's different. Well, what do you want? Well, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah, it's competing with stuff like Mario 64 at this point.
Right.
Ocarina of Time.
So I mean, there's just true 3D games at that point. Over the shoulder.
Gamers have moved on to 3D.
Right.
And this is still 2D, and so it just didn't really get that push at the beginning.
Right.
Sales were very mediocre.
Very, very mediocre. But a part of that was because of lack of advertising. They just didn't advertise it. But really, the success for this game and the sales success for this game came by word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just started playing it and said, holy crap, this is really good.
Yeah. A lot of critical praise, too.
Yeah. Hey, Joey Jojo, go play this game. It's really awesome.
Yeah, and it soon became a hit. Sleeper hit.
And that's crazy because, a lot of people consider this, especially in 97, to be, one of the best games ever created.
And I mean, it's got like you said, it's a lot well produced, a lot of polish.
Right.
Just a very solid game.
So, and you did your research, so I did a little bit of my own. This game's very highly regarded.
Mm-hmm.
There's several magazine publications that consider this in their top quarter or even top 10%, if I do the quick math, of best games ever. Top 100 games. IGN gave it a 16, number 16 out of 100. Game Informer gave it 24 out of 200.
Wow. Which I do want to go on record. So I don't really trust Game Informer.
Well, I mean, and maybe don't trust Game Informer, but they are a national-wise publication to the point to where they do have somewhat of a following, and they do know the games, that they're comparing. So, I mean, if they come out and say Sonic 06 is the best game ever, I mean, obviously we know better than that.
That's a story for another day. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Another game, another publication gave it a number 4 out of 100, and it was the highest PlayStation game. But then another one said it was the second best PlayStation game of all time behind Metal Gear Solid.
Right.
So I mean, 1A, 1B, kind of thing. I would even put Resident Evil 2 in that, best ever PlayStation game. And there's a publication called Edge that gave it a 35 out of 100. Well, I keep saying out of. It's not a 35 out. It's number 35 of 100 games of games that you have to play today. That that they suggest that you play even today. So it's like a retro kind of going back publication, saying, okay, out of all these retro games, you need to play these, and to still be ranked 35.
Yeah, needless to say, it's beloved.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, so we're gonna get in the game right quick. So hang out. We're gonna find some music eventually to put with this. Go ahead and spoil that one, dude. The music was really good for this.
It was.
I mean, obviously it fit the bill, which is what you want it to do. You don't want it to sound happy and upbeat when you're at a funeral or anything. But I did make the comment that there was one part of the level that kind of reminded me of Ghostbusters for some reason. I don't know, which is funny because you're dealing with a lot of ghosts and goblins and whatnot in the game. So
fitting.
So it was very fitting. So anyway, hang out, listen to this tune, and we'll be right back. Okay, so Hammy, let's talk about the story a little bit. What do we have here?
Well, like I said earlier, it's a sequel to Rondo of Blood. Of course, these Castlevania games usually follow the Belmont family, which is apparently a family of vampire hunters taking on Dracula and just about all of them. But this one sees you play as Alucard, which, in case you didn't know, is Dracula backwards.
I did not pick up on that.
Really?
I did not until just now. I'm looking at it spelled, and it sure does.
Well, Alucard is Dracula's half-human son.
Okay.
Dracula apparently had a human wife, and they had Alucard.
Right. So before we go into that, as far as from the game synopsis, we need to rewind just a little bit. This is a direct sequel to
Rondo of Blood.
Rondo of Blood. When you start at the game, you start off as the protagonist from Rondo of Blood.
Yeah, you start at the very end of Rondo of Blood.
Right. I mean, it's at the very, very end. So, it carries over and it sets you straight up, and it kind of gives you, hey, this is a new system. Here's the controls. Here's the buttons and everything for it. And it gives you a very, a very good intro level to it.
And you play as Richter Belmont. And
right.
You go straight to Dracula and fight him. And beat him.
Right.
Up this game, which is 4 years later.
Right. So it's 4 years later, and it's in the late 1700s.
Yeah, something like that.
1796.
Right. And get this, I didn't know this until I started playing this game. Castlevania is the name of Dracula's castle.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. This whole time, I just thought it was like a portmanteau of castle and Transylvania.
That's awesome. I don't feel so bad now for not knowing that Alucard was Dracula backwards now. There you go. I'm redeemed. Obviously you've got Dracula, you've got some other characters here. Maria is in it. Maria's been in the past games as well.
She was in Rondo of Blood. She's like a distant cousin to the Belmonts. She's also a vampire hunter. And she had a role in Rondo of Blood and in this as well. And her and Richter are I know they're NPCs in the original. I think it was the remakes that made them playable.
Okay.
You can play Symphony and I as the two of them in certain versions, but not the original version, I don't think.
And another important character that we're going to talk about in here, probably my favorite character just because of his name, is Shaft.
Played by Samuel L. Jackson.
You one bad vampire.
Yeah, I saw that when it popped up. It said it's General Shaft.
Yeah.
Like, wait, we're fighting Shaft?
What? So, so as far as the game itself goes, you jump in, like you said, right after the previous game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Richter confronts and defeats Dracula. 4 years later, Richter goes missing. No one knows where he's at. And then Dracula, Richter. And then Dracula's castle reappears.
Castlevania.
Ah, how about that? Alucard arrives, and he's just hell bent on destroying the castle.
Yeah, well, Alucard was also in I think Castlevania 3.
Yes,
he's one of 3 or 4 playable characters, and this place takes place, I think, a few hundred years afterwards.
Yeah,
apparently he's going into seclusion. I think he's been asleep this whole time. He doesn't want to hurt humanity. His father has vowed revenge on humanity because they killed his mother, Lisa, for being a witch.
So you're telling me that Alucard is basically Blade?
Exactly. Our Blade is Alucard.
Ah, that's probably the more accurate, actually.
I don't know when Blade first came on the scene.
Well, Blade Trinity was 2000, so it would have been right around this time, actually.
Wow.
But this right here was all set in motion even before that.
Maybe.
So at least the characters anyway.
Right. So Dracula wants revenge on humanity because of his wife being burnt at the stake as a witch.
Mm-hmm.
Alucard doesn't want revenge. He's it's no part of it. So I think after they beat him in Castlevania 3, and again I could be wrong on that, I think it's 3. Apparently he's been asleep the whole time, and he wakes up now because Dracula's
back.
Yeah. Backer than back.
Well, there was a movie that said that Dracula's back and he's deader than ever or something. What was that?
That's not telling.
I'll have to go back and find that.
Was it Flipper?
Funny. No, it was not Flipper. So Alucard arrives, and he meets Maria for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
She fought alongside Richter in previous games, and now she's searching for him because he's missing. Alucard finds Richter, and Richter claims to be the new lord of the castle.
Okay. I haven't got to that part in the game yet.
Well, I'm going completely off of what I found during the research to proceed through the game, because guys, this game is hard as crap.
All right, so spoiler alert, we're going to go through the whole game story.
Okay. Do you not want to do that?
I mean we can.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Convinced that Richter is under somebody else's control, Maria urges Alucard not to hurt him and gives him the holy glasses, which allows him to see past illusions.
Which, like I pointed out in that clock room,
yeah,
you have to do specific things to get those.
Eventually, Alucard confronts Richter and finds out that Richter's actually plans to resurrect Dracula, so the two can fight each other for an eternity. So that's kind of, the backstory of why all of a sudden he's missing, and then here he is, and it's him, but it's not him. Alucard breaks a spell, and then Dracula's servant Shaft. I figured you'd throw in something Shaft related there.
Well, I was trying to think of the theme song and I forgot.
Shaft.
I thought it was that.
Who is the man? There you go. And says that regardless that Dracula will still be resurrected soon. Alucard leaves Richter and Maria to confront Shaft, who then reveals he's planned to end the threat at Balmore Clan by controlling one of them and
Belmont Clan.
Belmont. Did I say Bilmore?
I think so.
I should really have printed this larger. Forcing the clan to fight one another. After defeating Shaft, Alucard faces his father, who vows to bring an end to humankind because Alucard's mother, Lisa, was executed as a witch, as you referred to earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Alucard refuses to join his father in his revenge, and he defeats him. Alucard tells Dracula that he has been thwarted many times because he has lost his ability to love after Lisa's death, and in Lisa's final words were the eternal love for him and plead him not to hate or at least harm humanity.
I find it funny that Dracula's love interest is the same name as the dude from The Room. Take me apart, Lisa.
I think that's probably just more of a coincidence than anything, but it's still funny.
Yeah. Such a basic name, Lisa. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you got Alucard, you got Dracula, you got Richter, and Maria's kind of a basic name too.
You got Dracula's half brother, Jerry.
And Shaft.
Yeah.
His loyal servant Shaft. Before Dracula dies, he asks for Lisa's forgiveness and bids his son farewell. Then after escaping the collapsing castle, Alucard rejoins Richter and Maria. Maria is relieved that he escaped, while Richter blames himself for the reason of Alucard's fight with his father. Alucard tells Richard the only thing... Richter. Gosh, I should really get... my eyes are getting bad. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. That's what? The only thing necessary for evil to triumph... Okay. Is for good men to do nothing. A quote attributed to Edmund Burke.
Yeah, there was another quote that they used in the original version that Dracula said at the beginning. What is man? I think, but a miserable pile of lies or something like that.
Yeah. That
was taken from another famous book.
Okay. Depending how much of the castle the player has explored, Maria either chases Alucard in the hope of changing his mind or resigns herself to Alucard's fate and leaves with Richter.
Yeah, and you're talking about her giving him the glasses earlier. The way I understand it is you can get through the game, not have the glasses, fight Richter, kill him, and that's one ending. Or if you do certain... if you defeat certain bosses to get certain items and go to the clock room to open a secret door to get the glasses, then when you defeat Richter, you see that there's something else behind him. You don't kill him, and that causes the castle to become inverted, and you go back through the whole thing again and get the true ending that time.
Okay. And so there's, what did we say earlier, 4 different endings for this? Or am I getting that confused with Resident Evil?
I
think
no
there's
idea.
4.
I didn't get one. So.
I asked Hammy earlier. We were playing through it, and we put a little bit. Well, this is what happened. Hammy came over. I was struggling, and Hammy took the control from me and said, "Give me this. You don't know what the heck you're doing," and made it. Gosh almighty, so much further than I had already gotten. So I'm basically sitting here watching Hammy play
because I played it quite a bit. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it is something that's going to take a lot of dedication.
Oh, absolutely.
Makes me think of the Dark Souls games. I don't think you ever played those.
I didn't. Probably all for the same reason.
It's not so much that it rewards success, but it punishes failure. And that it does.
Chinese proverb also.
Yeah. Oh, Chinese what?
Proverb.
Oh, okay.
What did I say?
I have no idea.
Not proverb. Gosh, I'm so glad you're back. So I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, the game, you have the save rooms, which you apparently...
I did not know how to operate the save room.
You walk in, there's some kind of weird dodecahedron.
It looks like a
around.
Dreidel.
Yeah, there's a Dreidel spinning around and eventually turns into a coffin that comes around and you save. It replenishes your health. You just walk in and hit up and it lets you overwrite the save file. You were sitting there and letting it go through its whole animation.
And it goes through its whole entire animation and it says, "Do you want to overwrite?" And I was like, yeah.
Well, anyway, when you die, you go back to the last time that you saved.
Right.
And as I showed you, not on purpose, you can do a whole lot after you save.
Yep.
Get a pretty long way, and then some stupid flying Medusa head comes out of the wall and kills you, and you lose every bit of it.
Well, and that was kind of your biggest complaint was the hitting, when you got hit by an enemy.
Oh, but you went flying.
Right. And sometimes it shifted you to another room, and a la Zelda, when you change the main room that you're in and you go back to the previous room that you were just in, all the enemies come back.
Oh gosh, it has the enemy respawn rate worse than Far Cry 2.
So, there was a lot of a lot of cheap deaths from things like
a whole
that.
lot of cheap deaths.
A lot of spamming from
Oh gosh, that guy with the axe.
a guy with the axe and
that
then that
plant.
plant.
Oh my, that I was getting mad. That was worse than Ryu with doing his Hadoukens on Street Fighter. It's just constant.
Yeah.
Spitting those things that turn you into stone and keep hitting you. Because when you get petrified like that,
Right.
you have to keep going back and forth, like left and right, to shake free of it. And
So
it takes a lot longer than I think it should.
So, I even made the reference that this was kind of in a sense, and it's not anything like so, but just certain aspects of it reminded us of, or reminded me anyway, of the Jurassic Park game we reviewed some weeks back.
Yeah, that was similar than that. You got hit, you went flying back 30 feet.
Right. And, sometimes, in Jurassic Park, you go flying back into an electric fence and you're dead. So, I mean, you at least don't have that kind of extreme, but pretty much, I mean...
Oh, it's extreme. I suffered many deaths because of the insane knockback. A lot of times, too, the enemy would be on like the bottom of a staircase. You'd be on the top, and there'd be like some kind of a ledge to keep you from jumping.
Yep.
So you basically had to walk through it, and you couldn't hit them until you got to the bottom. And they would spam their whatever move they had.
Right. And sticking with the Jurassic Park theme, obviously when you picked up your special items that were laying about the ground.
Right, yeah, your throwables.
If you walked across it, you picked it up, whether you wanted it or not. And that was kind of like the Doom area of Jurassic Park for Super Nintendo.
With the ammo.
Right.
I didn't like that because a lot of times it'd be inconvenient. There'd be sometimes I would switch by accident. I wouldn't realize I'd pick something else up.
Right.
In a heated battle.
Right.
And I go to use my stopwatch to stop time, and I end up throwing a spear at someone. Which those items, by the way, let me run through them. You got a dagger you throw. You got an axe that you throw with an arc.
Right.
There is a spear. It may do poison damage. I'm not sure. It was doing some kind of green splash something when I found it.
The green splash was like a no, that was something different.
That was like the little vial that you threw down that made a fire. That's awesome. I like that.
Well, it kind of reminds me of what is it from Game of Thrones?
Oh, what was that called? Wildfire?
Wildfire. That's what it was.
Then you also had the watch that stopped time for 5 seconds, which you got into a secret room.
Right.
In the big clock room. And you had the little diamond that you threw and it like bounced off stuff, like ricocheted around.
Yeah.
And it sometimes it was hit or miss, man. Sometimes it would do.
Well, if you got somewhere that had a bunch of walls and stuff around, or very tight, it would do a good job. Because there was one time when you threw it and like it was just killing people left and right. And there was another time you threw it and it didn't do anything. Like every time,
I'm glad it couldn't hurt me because it would have came back and killed me.
No, every time. But there was one time where it hit somehow or another. It hit at every perfect angle and missed every time. That little, what do you call it? Like a mannequin looking thing? The mannequin girl thing.
Marionettes.
Yeah. Where you threw it and she'd stand up and all of a sudden as soon as it got close to her she'd fall down.
Yeah.
And like it missed her every time.
It's like Matrix dodging it.
Exactly.
But those were cool. I like I said, I like the axe a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like the stopwatch. It became handy. I like the vial.
The only thing about the stopwatch was it used a lot of magic.
It did.
To do. And that's funny for me to say that because I don't do games like this. So you and I had a conversation about this earlier. And maybe we'll save it. We'll table it for the next segment. But
something that threw us off was you replenish your magic by smacking pretty much every piece of furniture you come across. And it makes a heart pop out, which in my mind is supposed to be health.
Exactly. But
hearts on here is magic. Health you get by saving the save room.
Right.
Or you can find potions. Or food, which you have to equip and throw down before you can eat.
Yeah, and say that was another thing. Like, why couldn't you do that in the menu? And I know, like, today, you can do that. And I don't know if it was a system limitation or what, but it just seems to me you could go to the food, select it, eat it real quick, and then continue on. Yeah,
it was a little much. It was pretty much inconvenient because you had to unequip something, equip it, then go right back to your menu and re-equip whatever you needed.
And it was tedious.
It was. That's something that could have been a little different. You had the relics that you found that did different things.
Right. I found 2.
Yeah. You found the one that
is given to you at the first of the game, pretty much.
Something of Zoe. Book of Zoe, maybe.
Yeah, Orb of Zoe.
Orb of Zoe, the ones that let you see the enemies' names. You didn't quite get that one yet.
No.
The one that lets you open the blue doors.
Right.
There's
the
one
magic.
I really want that gives you the double jump that I haven't got yet.
Okay.
In my playthrough.
Well, now, guys, everything we're talking about from a playability standpoint or a playthrough standpoint is very, very early in the game. I'm talking within the first. I don't know.
Oh, I'm probably being laughed at by a lot of people who said you don't have the double jump yet.
Peasant.
Yeah, peasant.
So yeah. Now the one thing that was kind of neat about this game was the number of bosses. Now you've got some I guess bigger bosses, and you've got like in the old Sonic games and stuff. You had the mid bosses. Even Mario to an extent, you had the mid bosses, the fortress bosses. But there's a ton of bosses in this.
Oh yeah, and regular enemies, a whole plethora of just different enemies.
Well, I think that's funny that you go through and you beat a boss, and the boss is gone forever. You never have to face him again.
Well, some you kind of do. Some of them become regular enemies after that.
Well, okay, I'll assume because I didn't really.
No, I haven't seen that. I've been told that.
Right.
I haven't found the pterodactyl man again yet.
Hopefully we don't. Because that first boss was and it was even said that they made this game to be this way so it gets easier as you progress and level up and whatnot, because you get stronger, you get better weapons
as long as you save after you level up
a lot. But like that first boss, I bet Wednesday night when I had a chance to actually play through and try to review this game, I bet that I died probably a dozen times.
It was rough.
Because you don't have anything.
Well, I was talking to a buddy of mine, Kyle,
Mm-hmm.
who's actually speedruns this game.
Okay.
I think he said his best time's like around an hour and a half. I could be wrong.
Now, is that like just to beat the game, or is that like the good ending of the game?
I think that's the good ending.
Holy gosh almighty.
Yeah, he plays a lot, but he said that boss is actually the roughest boss because you're so under-equipped when you fight it. But that second boss, to me, the one that's the doppelganger of you.
Oh, yeah. That was rough.
That felt like fighting Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 2.
Well, I made the comment that it was like fighting Super Shredder
Yeah.
in Turtles 4, where he just keeps morphing and there's 2 or 3 of him.
Well, my gosh, he'd knock me up in the air and then he'd be right there when I landed to hit me again.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, let me breathe.
Well, I know, and going back to the enemies and the jump back, the hit damage that you take from them, you could get between 2 enemies on either side of you, and they just juggle you, and you just die. I mean, there's nothing there to it. So, I mean, there's some rough aspects of this game. Does it make it unplayable? No. Does it make it frustrating? Absolutely.
And I'm sure that there are things you unlock later. Like there was something in the menu called familiars, which is usually something you summon to help you.
Right.
And I'm not sure what they do. I never got to that.
So in this game, you have 2 buttons, one for left hand, one for right hand.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, you're gonna have a sword and a shield. That's what we had most of our playthrough. There are times where you can have 2 weapons. You have 2 swords, maybe not a sword, but just for sake of conversation, 2 swords. Or you can have really heavy weapons that require both hands. Yeah. So you've got that attack. You've got the magic attack that Hammy was talking about earlier, where you're throwing items and that kind of stuff. But the other thing that you also have another, for lack of a better term, another magic bar.
Yeah.
Where you can put in button combinations, kind of like playing Mortal Kombat. That's what it reminded me of. It really is.
Not just basic moves, either, like fatalities.
Right. It's like up, down, and then rotate from down to forward and push X. Or back and then rotate around all the way up. So you're going from left all the way around to right and hit X.
So, geez, I thought I was going to turn to a dragon and eat half of him.
So that was something that was completely new for this aspect as well.
What wigged me out is...
And those were the spells. That's what that was.
Yeah.
So you had magic, and then you had spell power, I guess, too.
Well, what got me is your version had those unlocked already.
It had 3 of them unlocked. I'm assuming there's more.
I'm sure there is, but on mine...
Yeah.
I had to go buy them. I had to buy my first one.
Well, same thing with the map too. You had to get all the way to the librarian to get the map. Well, on this particular version, and this is what led me to wanting to know which one was the more true version. On this one, when you start out, you hit left trigger.
I didn't think about that.
Maybe yours is more the original version.
It might be,
and mine's like an upgrade, because there's no way of selecting a different difficulty on this. It is what it is.
Maybe it's because you entered Alucard as your name.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe.
Mine was Hammy.
I didn't. If it's a cheat, I really didn't know it. Now there are cheats in this game.
I think most of them you have to beat the game first to get them.
Most of them you do. Now there is one to make the game insanely hard that you don't have to do on the front side. But why anybody would want to do that just makes them a sadist.
Well, it jacks your luck all the way up, which
what is your luck?
Well, you have strength determines your attack, your damage.
Okay.
Defense is how much damage you can take.
Okay.
Intelligence determines, I think, how fast your magic comes back.
All right.
Your magic bar refills. Luck determines.
Now, is that magic or is that spell? Because magic is the hearts. Remember?
Spell.
Okay. And we're just assuming that's the name of these meters. I have no idea.
Your blue meter.
There you go.
And the luck determines if you get critical hits, which is every now and then you get a hit that does like twice the damage, and also your drops, the drops you get from enemies, because the equipment is RNG.
Right.
So it's random.
Okay.
Which, if it carries over from Destiny 2, then I have terrible luck.
Well, they didn't introduce anything of, carrying over from other games, thankfully, at this point. So,
and you do get a bunch of different things to equip. You got your weapons, your shields, like you said. You got something to put on your head. You get your armor. You get a cloak, and then you get like 2 rings that you can equip. And it changes whenever you find new stuff. It changes the look of your guy.
Okay. And one of the other things too is you unlock these, I guess, powers. You get to kind of transform into a wolf.
Yes, the transformations, right. I only got the wolf, which I got you that.
Right.
There's also a bat and there's also a mist.
Right.
And you need all of those to get to the final boss.
Okay. So, I mean, literally on the version that we played, Hammy said you'd push the shoulder button and you would transform to these different things.
It was right trigger for you, but it was left bump or L1 for me.
Okay. But yeah, you just simply pushed the button and you became a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And from what we played, anyway.
Yeah, and you could change back and forth.
Really didn't see a need for it yet. Maybe there is, obviously, through when you get later into the game, but I know, like, when you turn into a bat, like, if you jump, like, say you're on a screen and you're on the far left side, and it, maybe there's a set of stairs or a platform or something that makes you drop down, you turn into the bat, and the bat just basically flies linear, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've seen. I don't think you can fly up. I don't think you fly down. I think it's just you fly. You start here and you just start flying until you change back.
All right. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I know I've seen the mist. I know that there's some like grates you can go through.
No, I haven't seen the mist, so I'll take your word for that one.
It's basically like the smoke monster from Lost.
What a great show! I know we say that all the time.
So instead of mist, we're going to refer to it as a smoke monster.
I love it. I love it. Now I want to play this game even more.
Yeah, that just
sold it.
Another 10 points for me.
So, you've got on here the world, and you've got graphic, sound, and immersion. We've kind of touched on the graphics. We've touched on the sound a little bit on the front side. What do you want to say about immersion?
That's a word I typed that I assumed by the time we got to it, I would know what it meant. I mean, I guess just how much you get into the game, how much you enjoy it. Like Resident Evil, it's got a great deal of immersion.
Right.
Because you turn the lights off in here, you get to play in it, and you're really into it.
Right.
With this, I don't know. I think
the immersion comes from the completion part of it, I think. Just what's next.
Yeah.
And this is me, and don't at me because I'm about to say this. This isn't the story. I can take or leave. I'm not a vampire guy. I mean, yeah, you want to stop the bad guy. I get that. I can dumb it down enough to say, okay, that's my hook. Stop the bad guy, but that's the hook for almost every video game,
right?
Except maybe Snoopy Goes to the Olympics or something.
Or that goat game that just came out. No, not goat.
The goose. The goose game is scare people. Done.
Yeah,
done. When you get to be the zombie and scare people. There you go.
Sold.
Sold. Done. My nephew would probably love that game. He's got a fascination for geese right now. He's like always talking about how this goose chased him. I'm like, what goose? And my sister looked at me and says, it's an imaginary goose. I'm like, well, I'm into it now. I want to know about this goose. Tell me more. So, and I've got down here cheats. Now, like you said earlier, the cheats mainly revolve around typing your name in as certain things, certain people, whatnot. Right. But you have to do it after you've completed the game. One of them is you can play as Richter. After you've completed the game, you enter your name as Richter.
Okay, so that's how you get those.
So that's how you get those. Now there's others that obviously you had to complete the game in order to get. So, but the other one that I know you can do without completing the game is the extra hard. And why anybody would want to do that, I don't know.
Well, I think that's the one that, like I said, it jacks up your luck, so you get really good drops.
Okay,
but
and maybe that's what it was, because it gave you a 99 something, and maybe that's what it was.
Luck.
Okay.
Then Maria, I think you can play as her.
Okay.
How cool would it be if you put in Mario? You actually play as Mario. I'm gonna put in Master Chief.
Oh wow!
Just run through shooting everything.
I'm sure there's probably a emulator, not an emulator, a mod somewhere that you can do that.
Maybe.
I would just play as Macho Man if I could. Just jump in, elbow everybody.
There's really no scenario where you wouldn't want to be Macho Man.
Exactly. All right. So, Hammy, the review.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about the review. What did you think about the game?
I can say this. This is a game I want to keep playing even after we're done with the review.
Okay.
I mean, it can be frustrating. You saw me get frustrated.
I did.
At it. I didn't get as frustrated when I was at home playing it.
You're saying it's me?
No, I think because I was trying to get to a certain spot real quick.
Well, yeah, and then if you take the patience out of it, it makes it extremely difficult.
I was also on a lot of pain medication when I was at home, so
yeah. So you're like, I don't care. I'll just do it again.
But I do want to keep. I would like to beat it one day. I do enjoy it. I really did. It's not for the faint of heart.
No, gosh, no.
It's challenging. Sometimes borderline on unfair on some of those deaths.
Right. So would you say, I mean, there's a nostalgia factor that comes with playing games like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I want to play through the rest of what we've got started on Resident Evil.
Oh, yeah.
For the nostalgia.
Yeah.
This is not one that I played.
Me neither.
So, I mean, you've got basically, it's like a brand new game, or it is a brand new game. So you're like, hey, I kind of want to keep going. So there's that factor too.
Exactly.
How would you rate it on a retro game night? Because we had this.
It wouldn't be a retro game
right,
night
and that's what I was.
A lot of single player games wouldn't be though.
Yeah, and that's kind of where Caitlin and I were on Resident Evil. Yeah, it's fun and it's good to go through real quick. Hey, I remember this part and it's right here at the beginning. Let me show you, or a jump scare moment or something. Yeah. But as far as beating the game on a retro game night, it's not going to happen.
No.
Because I mean, you're talking about easy with Resident Evil. You got 3-4 hours worth of exploration and stuff you're going to do. Kind of the same with this one. Yeah, you could probably find somebody that could speed run it to get to the bad ending.
Now,
I don't know.
There is a world record for beating it with any percent. That's, I think, 15 minutes.
Goodness gracious. Any percent, though. That's not the good ending necessarily.
And I think, now they play with the Alucard. Because I know a lot of speedrunners get Richter, because apparently he's better.
Okay.
But my buddy Kyle was telling me about it last night.
Okay.
So now, if we could get that, if you can do that,
well, if you,
I would give you 15 minutes to watch you do that.
Oh, sure. Now, if you could play the game, okay. How about this? To me, I think the game for me personally would be better if I played as Richter, as you had it at the front where you had everything, or Alucard when you had everything before. Everything was taken from you. So if you've ever played Assassin's Creed, the first part of this game is kind of like that. You start off and you have everything. It's easy to kill things. You have no issues. Well, in Assassin's Creed, they say, well, you killed somebody you're not supposed to, so we're going to take all your weapons away. And you got to go through the game and relearn how to use them again, which is kind of dumb, but whatever. It's part of the game. Well, this kind of does the same thing where it takes everything away from you.
You have to find it again.
You have to find it all again, and I don't know. Like if I could have played the entire game where I was already maxed out, I might would enjoy it a little bit more. I know that takes a lot of the need for exploration and stuff away, but I don't know. It's just one of those things.
And there's another. There is an item Jeff was telling me about. I can't remember what it's called. It's some weapon that he says basically makes the game easy.
Okay.
Puts on easy mode, like it just wipes everything out real fast. It's like
So that's what I need.
It's like what was it called?
Start out with that
because he said it and he started I think with a C. It's not chrysanthemum. It's not crystal gale. I don't remember what it was called.
Is it Crystal Hamburgers?
No, that's with a K.
No, okay.
But
well, and real quick before we get off the game necessarily, another thing that I kind of found a little frustrating was you'd go into a room with the hopes and dreams of finding something really, really neat, a weapon of some sort that's really going to help you progress, and you get there and the weapon that you find is worse than the weapons you already have. It's like, where's the reward at, man?
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, we can talk about the librarian that you find.
Yeah.
And you can find these library cards that warp you right to him, and he'll sell you some items.
Yeah. One for $30,000.
Yeah,
or
that was Joseph's coat.
Yeah. Of multicolors, I don't know.
I think so, because I think it says you can change the color to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was purely a guess. Off the Broadway musical.
You can buy and sell stuff from him. You can buy you can buy spells. You can learn tactics for bosses from him.
Sure.
And I think he's the first friendly NPC that I found.
Right. Outside of, I guess, Maria. We found Maria.
Talked to Maria, I think, twice now.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm kind of the same way. I did enjoy it. I really enjoyed watching you play it, which that in itself is nostalgic because there's a lot of times when I would, I'd come over and watch you play GoldenEye because you had one controller. And you're like, hey, watch me do this. Pew, pew, pew. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty awesome. Can I play? No, it's mine.
You can watch.
Yeah, you can watch. So there's a little bit of that, just watching you play. Now, the Let's Play videos and things like that, I'm not a huge, the streamers and all that. I'm not huge into that. Every so often, I'll watch somebody just on a, not a new game, maybe a nostalgic game, just to see maybe where I kind of hold a candle to, basically watching other people play Sonic. But anyway, but I really do enjoy watching it because I think the back and forth, watching you get angry and just us talking and just, we're best friends. So, I mean, there's a lot of that, but I really did enjoy watching you play through it. I would play it again. I don't know if I would ever beat it though. It's not on my list to absolutely complete. Like, I'm not that in love with the game to want to complete it.
Yeah, like I said, it's one that requires a lot of. It's going to require a lot of devotion from you.
Well, and patience. Patience is the number one factor for me right now. So, but anyway, would I recommend it to someone else? Yeah, if they enjoyed that genre of kind of, it's got platformy elements.
Yeah.
If they enjoyed the older Castlevania games and kind of how that story progresses, sure, absolutely.
Especially if they're fans of like modern games that are like this, like Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
This made me think of a lot about a 2D version of that.
Right.
There's another game that came out called Blasphemous that's similar, because there have been a ton of games inspired by this that have come out over the years.
And that says a lot about a game that's viewed to be, one of the best ever, or
Right.
a classic, best ever, whenever it can have that much influence on other games.
Right. And like I said, this is the one that really spawned the Metroidvania genre.
Right. So, all right. Well, that's our review of the game. Stick around and we will do some other crap. I don't know.
All right. So, Clint, I told you earlier that I'd come up with not a question, but just something I wanted to present you with that I'm going to post on social media as well.
Okay.
And that's a video game bucket list.
And not and you don't mean it in the sense, because I know we've kind of already talked about it. You don't mean it in the sense of video games I want to play before I kick the bucket.
It's video game accomplishment bucket
go.
list.
There you go.
Games you want to beat. Maybe it's games you want to 100%. Maybe you want to, for instance, get 120 stars in Super Mario 64.
Sure.
Maybe you want to beat Ocarina of Time with only 3 hearts and no deaths. Some people,
Lord, why would you want to do that?
People have done that.
Well, they have.
I'm not that good.
Maybe do the cranky challenge, like things like that. The cranky challenge,
yeah,
and
the
Donkey
cranky
Kong.
challenge.
Okay.
Lasso on Halo.
Right.
Wait, is that what it's called? Legendary All Skull Zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So finish the fight, guys. Know what that is.
Yeah. I don't know if I could do Lasso.
Yeah, we've talked about doing it back in our prime.
Dude. Well, this right here is how you accomplish that. I will go ahead and I'll put that one on there as long as I could get to. And this is the thing too. It'd have to be multiplayer. I couldn't do it single player.
Oh no,
there's no way I could do it single player. But if it was multiplayer, I'll put that on there as long as I get to play with you guys that we used to, you, Casey, Alex, that we used to always get on and play Halo with. But the way you get to do that is you have one guy crouched in the corner the entire time. That's your respawn buddy.
Yeah. That's how we do a lot of Destiny 2 strikes as well.
I'm dead.
Hard
Hey,
strikes.
get back. I'm almost dead.
Stay alive.
Stay alive. Gosh almighty, that's all that does make me want to play Halo. So one of mine, and when you posed this question, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, I don't know, because there's a ton of things, and then I got to thinking about it. One of them that I know that I would love to do, there's no way, because I've never seen anybody truly do it. I want to beat the original Ninja Turtles in NES.
There you go. That's your number one.
That's one of them.
Okay.
I mean, no order. I'm literally coming up with these off the top of my head. I didn't make a list or anything, but that was one. I want to play through and beat 100% beat all 3 Donkey Kong countries.
Okay.
I've obviously done 1. I haven't played a lot of 2 to 100% it. Haven't played a whole lot of 3 to 100% it. But we're talking about goals. There's a goal.
Right.
I want to, and this is a before I kick the bucket. I want to play through every Halo game in chronological order sometime soon. So you got Reach, you got 1, you got 2, then ODST, because it's hard to split those games up unless you pause it at a certain time, fire the game up, and then play through to a certain point, and then played ODST and 3 at the same time. But
right.
ODST, then 3,
then 4, 5,
and then 4, 5, and then I would like to do that maybe before 6 comes out. I know you're not 100% sold on 6 yet, but we've got what till Christmas of next year, because that's the launch title for the new Xbox.
We can do that.
So we've got a year and a couple months to do that.
Now, you talking about playing on Legendary?
I get no benefit. I mine's more for the camaraderie. I want to play through it start to finish,
because we have beat them on Legendary.
Oh, absolutely. But you can play through 1 through 4. Play through 1 through 4. That just sounded weird. On the Master Chief Collection, so you've got one game that you can play through it all together. Maybe at least
ODST's on there now.
Well, ODST is on there.
Reach is supposed to be added pretty soon. So
that will help, in that part of the accomplishment. But aren't there some of those that's only 2-player?
Yeah,
and that's God. Why do they do that?
It made me mad because the anniversary edition of 1, if I'm not mistaken, I could be. I think it was 4-player co-op.
I think we had this conversation already, and it wasn't.
I think you're right.
I've got the box over here.
But yeah, 1 and 2.
I think we did that too. Is look at the box.
I know in the Master Chief Collection, I know 1 and 2 are 2-player.
Right. So I mean, we may have to split up, and like me and you, or me and Casey, then you and Alex do those 2 together all at the same time. But then we come back for 3 and go forward.
But yeah, I know. Reach is 4-player. I think ODST is 4.
Pretty sure it is. I know it is on the Firefight.
Yeah.
So
I think it is 4.
So yeah,
Such
that's
a good game.
It was
underrated.
That was one you threw out one. I don't think I've ever 100%ed 120 stars Mario 64.
I haven't done it, but I've seen it done.
I've seen it done, and I've seen it done in person. My buddy Charles, when we were growing up, he was real big on 64 and video games in general. So there was a lot of that. Trying to throw one out there a little different. Maybe play through like Mortal Kombat 2 with every character on the hard difficulty, something like that.
Was there a hard difficulty? Yeah, there was one.
Yeah, there's the different towers.
Yeah, the
different mountains or whatever.
I've beaten it with everyone on not the easy one.
Yeah, I have too. But like, just if you're going to challenge yourself a little bit, gosh, man, there's probably
get
more.
Melina. It should be the easiest one to do it with.
Just ask Casey.
Forward 4-day.
Well, what was it? Hold Y, forward A, and after they rolled, you hit them with a sigh.
Oh, you can just keep spamming.
Well, I know that. Well, you do the kick, you can do the roll, and you do the sigh, and that's what a lot of people do. They just make that to a combo, which is why 3 became the combo game.
Yeah,
the true combo game. I don't know. I know I'm missing through some. I'd like to complete one of the newer Grand Theft. Well, I say newer. The only Grand Theft Auto I've ever beaten start to finish and 100%ed was Vice City.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 that I hardly ever played. I don't think I really played 3. And then there's San Andreas, and there's 4, and there's 5 that I've not beaten. So
I've beaten. The only one I've ever beaten was 5.
Okay. And is that 100% beat or just get to the end of the story?
Just get to the end of the story.
Yeah. See, and there's all kind of side missions and all that
yeah.
kind of stuff that you can do that makes that game go forever. To this day, I still have yet to play any of the Red Dead games.
I haven't either.
So, I mean, that seems like it would be fun. They're reviewed great.
Yeah, I'm just not big into the whole Western.
I don't mind the whole Western thing,
genre.
but
unless it's Tombstone. I'm your Huckleberry.
That's fantastic. So yeah, I could probably think of a couple more, but we can sit here all night. So what do you got, Hammy?
Oh, I'm glad you asked because I wrote it down, then took a picture of what I wrote down.
You could have just typed it on your phone.
I want to beat the Blood Soul series.
Okay.
Which is Dark Souls 1 through 3, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and I'm gonna throw Sekiro on there because it's the same company.
Okay.
And those are all hard games, and I've played them, and I lack the skill necessary to beat them at the stage I'm at with them.
Just a heads up, I think your skill goes down as you get older.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to another friend the other day, and he was talking about he's looking forward to retirement. He can actually play all these games. I thought, that's a good way to look at it. I can't wait to retire so I can play video games all day.
In your 60s.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Symphony of the Night, I would like to beat it.
Sure.
Resident Evil 1 remake.
Okay.
And the Resident Evil 2 remake.
I would like to play through the Resident Evil 2 remake as well. Again, I love that game on PlayStation, and I know just like with the Resident Evil 1 remake, they added some stuff, changed some stuff around. So I mean, it's basically a whole new game.
It looks great.
It looks scary.
It does. Mr. X.
I played through the demo where it only gave you like 12 hour, or it wasn't even that. It's like an hour to go through, like and then it cut it off. And yeah, I guess if they ever put that on Game Pass, I might would get it. I don't know if I would actually just come out and buy that.
Have you seen 7? It's first person.
I've not seen 7.
Looks very terrible. Looks like they took a lot of cues from was it Outlast?
Yeah. But that would be the first person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, even though it was originally going to be.
Well, I know they I think in the remake they made it more is it more third person?
It's a lot more like RE4.
Okay. Because 4, 5, and 6 are all third person.
Yeah.
And I think they remade 2 to be third person.
Yeah. I wish they did that with 1. Because those fixed camera, man. And
that's where jump scares come from,
y'all
buddy.
were talking about it. And it does give it that whole
security camera vibe.
Or that B movie vibe.
Right.
Anyway. The Metro trilogy.
Okay.
Which is 2033.
Exodus.
Last Light and Exodus.
Right. And I've heard good things about them.
I've played a lot of 2033. I haven't beat it, though. They're really good shooters. I want to beat Jurassic Park 2 for Super Nintendo with you. We've got to do that.
There's a tear coming down my face right now.
We've been saying we're going to
for 20 years.
Yeah. I want to beat Chrono Trigger, SNES.
Okay. Maybe I should throw that up. Maybe I want to play and beat an RPG, a true RPG.
There you go, JRPG.
There you go.
Chrono Trigger's a good one to do.
Now I say I won't with disdain in my face as I say it, but
I want to beat The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword.
Okay.
It's one of the few Zeldas I haven't played through, but it's on Wii, and I hate the freaking motion controls. I got it. I got a Wii just for that game. Put a few hours into it. I can't do this.
Now, don't they?
I'm exhausted.
Is it the Wind Waker? That's one of them, right?
That wasn't the only one with the motion controls. Was
okay, but that was
Skyward
Wii
Sword.
though, right?
No, that was GameCube.
Okay, so I'm thinking too far.
And
back.
then it's remastered for the Wii U.
But then
now Twilight Princess was on Wii, and you could do motion controls.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like the way they did it in Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword is wherever you move your stick, the sword swings like that.
Ugh.
Yeah, and it didn't work out all the time.
Ugh.
But Twilight Princess, the GameCube version, is far superior.
Well, what is the one I'm thinking that was for Wii? Is it the Four Swords, or is that GameCube also?
No, that was Four Swords was crap, that's like Game Boy Advance, and then there was a GameCube version.
Okay.
Called Four Swords Adventures.
Okay. Well, I'm not the Zelda mastermind here, so
we had Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword.
I got a bonus question when we're done with this.
Okay.
That I just thought of.
I want to beat Metal Gear Solid.
Ooh.
I've never played all the way through it.
You've seen me play though.
I have. I want to beat the Doom remake.
I want to beat the Doom remake. Is it 2-player?
No, it's not.
Dadgummit.
I want to beat it before the new one comes out in March.
Well, if they don't, if it comes out in March, they'll keep sliding it back. They keep on.
As long as they do it right. And finally, and this is going to make Jeff smile, I want to beat Suikoden 1 and 2. Two just JRPGs that are like the pinnacle of JRPGs for the people who play a lot of them.
Okay.
Jeff's a huge fan of them. He actually lent them to me a long time ago to play through, and I played a lot of 1, but never beat it.
So, well, and this is another bonus question: are the Final Fantasy games considered JRPGs?
Yeah, most of them.
Okay.
I think like
so. This
not.
is considered to be better than the one that everybody holds dear.
Well,
Final Fantasy VII.
By Suikoden fans, it is.
Okay. All right. Well, real quick, and this right here just kind of spawned on me since we were talking about Zelda. There's a Twitter account, and the name escapes me right now, where they had basically posted a couple of questions about. One of them was they listed six like Zelda games.
Yeah.
And
keep 2, lose the other ones
for a remake, and lose the other one.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Well, it's
because
stupid.
All of them were great.
Right. But like, well, it makes a good debate though. Which 2 do you keep?
Man, I can't pick.
But personally, you've got favorites, sure.
I do.
Okay.
Because the ones they listed, they had Ocarina, they had Majora's Mask, they had Twilight Princess, they had Wind Waker, and they had Skyward Sword.
And say all of those are the 3D Zelda games, and one of them was Breath of the Wild. Well, no, it wasn't because it was already HD. Yeah. That was a different question.
So, which Wind Waker and Twilight Princess have HD remakes?
Okay,
but man, I keep 2 and lose the other 3. I can't. I mean, Ocarina is my favorite of all time.
Okay. And again, that's another one that maybe that's what I add to my list. I want to play through more of the Zelda games. Maybe not all of them, but more of them.
I would like to see an HD remaster of Ocarina, but not at the cost of losing.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to kill that last one.
Okay. So
and say I would like an HD remaster.
Give me 3.
Ocarina.
Well, give me 2. Give me 2. Your top 2 that you'd like to see remastered.
Ocarina of Time.
Uh-huh.
And I would like to see Skyward Sword done without those stupid motion controls.
Okay. I don't have a dog in this fight, but for me to play it, to get away from the janky look and feel of the Nintendo 64, I would like, for Ocarina of Time, because you hold it in such high regard, it makes me want to play it. But right now I can't get past that unless I get that Frankenmeister thing or whatever.
Well, even then, man, the N64 is a hard system to go back to.
Oh yeah,
because we liked it then because we didn't know what we didn't have.
Right, but now we know what we have, and we're like, how?
It's like, man, that game was so great, and I know it was great. But good grief, these controls.
Yeah,
this controller.
Well, if they do something kind of like they did with Banjo-Kazooie when they did their remake for Xbox, it fixed.
God, that was like night and day. Too.
Right. But I mean, it fixed a lot of the issues. It made it a 2-stick layout, and it kind of did away with that C.
Yeah, we played those back to back, and that blew my mind.
Yeah, majored. I really enjoyed playing that. And again, it's a difference in the time. 2-stick versus 1-stick, but
yeah.
I really did enjoy replaying through that. And there was another question. I guess it was that it was just which of these two get a remake, or which of these 6, and you had to pick. So, any chance? I mean, Nintendo owns Zelda. Surely they can do a remake. Why would they not? I guess is the question.
I'm sure they would. I wish that they would just come out with a Switch game that's got every one of them on it.
That's a lot.
Because
that's a lot.
The system that you can play the most Zelda games on would be the 3DS, or rather the new 3DS, because it's got the Game Boys, the regular Nintendo. It's got Link to the Past.
Okay.
And it's got remakes. Well, not remakes, or really remasters, just ports of Ocarina and Majora's Mask on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because didn't they do a Ocarina of Time 3D? And it fixed a lot of, like the water dungeon. Did I say that right?
Water temple.
Water temple, like where you would get lost in it really, really easily. Like I think in that one they actually put like arrows to kind of help you get through.
Oh no, I haven't. I've got it, but I haven't played it.
I've seen that somewhere.
But I have seen some changes they made to Majora's Mask, which were no one has liked.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For instance, in Majora's Mask, you can get these, masks that transform into different races.
Mm-hmm.
And the Zora are the ones who swim underwater.
Yeah.
And Majora's Mask, you get underwater and you can swim. And it was great. It worked great. I mean, it's like you're flying underwater, just the way you're moving. And in the 3DS version, for some reason, that uses up your magic.
Huh.
Where it didn't in N64, and they added that, and that's just like, why?
Yeah,
that's dumb.
It's a downgrade. Why would you downgrade? If you're going to do anything, upgrade it.
They downgraded it.
It's kind of like where it makes perfect sense that a prequel you have better weapons than you do the original. So, okay. Well, I always enjoy talking Zelda with you because I see in your face, like when you're talking about it and you're, bringing up the memories and stuff. I just that boy-like glow on your face. I really do enjoy it.
That could be the medicine I'm taking.
Probably so. But all right.
Some side effects include
staring at a blank wall, reliving your past childhood, wondering if you've made the correct decisions in life. Okay, well that kind of concludes our episode this week. Obviously, hit us up social media. You find all those links on hamandspam.com.
Mm-hmm.
We're still taking suggestions for other games, especially coming up after 30. We've got a couple mapped out, not very many though. So send them to us. We've got a pretty decent list, but we don't have 60 of them laid out yet. So we will need your help, or you're going to have to hear us talk about crap we don't know about. So or that y'all don't want to hear, rather. And we'd rather make it what you want to hear versus what you don't, obviously. So
you don't want another Legend of Mystical Ninja.
I can't wait for everybody to hear Casey's take on the Legend of Mystical Ninja. It's not a lot of a take, but it's enough take to justify our review. I'll put it that way. So bonus episode hits. Check that out. This episode will drop minutes before, or literally 1 minute before. That's the only way. Somehow or another, when we post all this on Podbean, obviously it does, episode 023, episode 024, episode 025. Well, it's separate. It's ordered by the date and the time that it releases. So This episode will release at 7 p.m. local time, and the bonus episode will be 7:01 p.m. local time. So you got some editing to do, sir.
I've done some.
Okay, well, good deal. Hopefully you won't have a whole lot to do on this one though, outside of throwing some stuff on the front side and the back side. So,
all right.
Well, we appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for the feedback. Hopefully we'll end up with 1,000 listeners by the time you guys listen to this and the bonus
16
episode.
away?
Is it 16?
I think so. I think last time I checked, it was like 984.
I thought it was 960 something. Resident Evil's done very well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Treat did a good job.
Yeah. maybe we should have her on a little bit more, but she's got to get through all the temples first. So
yep.
But anyway, thanks for joining us this week, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Peace.